Hey guys, welcome back. I am excited to talk about this topic because, first of all, I need this information more than anybody listening because I'm having some real health issues around this topic. But we're going to talk today about sugar addiction. Now, I'm going to sit here and tell you that I've never admitted or thought I had a problem with sugar because I knew I could not have the dessert. I needed to avoid the cake. I didn't go get a candy bar for snack, mid-afternoon. Because I knew better. I knew that I couldn't have that. But I have not been diligent about knowing how much sugar is in the other foods that I take in. So, first of all, sugar, which is better known as fructose, is highly addictive. Who would have thought, right? But let me just tell you this. It hits the same receptors in the brains as opioids. Really? So we talk about people that are addicted to drugs, and we understand how that addiction works. Those receptors want more and more of that. But sugar, in some research, has even been shown to be more addictive than drugs. So let's don't kid ourselves about what we're dealing with here. This is very serious. I want to talk to you today a little bit about how this system works and how it can create this unhealthy cycle that we land in. So first of all, we take sugar in. It's going to, one of two things are going to happen. It's going to come into the body and instantly insulin is going to be produced by the liver because that's the response for when we take in sugar. Insulin is used to match that, to help process that sugar. If we produce too much insulin, then we end up with fat. So that's one of the scenarios. The other scenario that happens at the same time is that we take in the sugar, the liver takes care of it. Well, now we need more energy. So we've created this constant need for more sugar because we need that energy. It's quick. When you take in sugar, it's a quick energy release. So that's why our body and our brain is left craving more and more. So two of the big things that this does is mess up our hunger response. We have hormones in our body called leptin and ghrelin, which are responsible for telling us when we need to eat. But these receptors get so confused and messed up by this constant intake of sugar, messing with all of the other hormones, that they're confused. So we're getting mixed signals about whether or not we're truly hungry because this system is broken. There's a direct correlation between this and obesity. So if you want to get to the root of your problem, perhaps we should start with sugar, and that's a good starting point. So let's talk about the three types of sugar. So we have monosaccharides. These are simple sugars. These are the building blocks to more complex carbohydrates, and they include things that naturally occur in our fruits, vegetables, and dairy. Then we go to disaccharides. That simply means it's two monosaccharides together. So anytime you join fructose, glucose, galactose together with glucose, so it can be glucose, fructose, glucose, 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 galactose, that's when you get a disaccharide. And this is table sugar. It's beer. It's milk. So those are the commonly occurring ones. And then you get long chains known as polysaccharides, which is similar. So these are your complex carbs, and these are things found in whole grains, starchy vegetables, and beans. Anytime you eat any of these sugars, you get this release into the bloodstream for immediate energy. So this sugar is what's the release. It is regulated by insulin and glycogen. So when the sugar levels are continually elevated, that's what's leading us into weight gain, metabolic syndrome, and type 2 diabetes. Our body simply doesn't know what to do with all the sugar. It's too much. It's too much of a load. So the whole system is being thrown off by this constant onslaught of sugar. And what's sad is most of us don't even realize that we're doing it. We are eating maybe a processed bar. We think it says it's healthy. It says I should be able to eat this. It's got healthy grains, all this stuff. And maybe don't notice on the packaging that it has 26 grams of sugar. So that's a huge load. If you're having, throughout your meals, those hidden sugars like that, you're taking in way, way too much. In the old days, let's go back to our ancestors. So when we truly used to eat seasonally, people had harvest and they had They focused a lot more on proteins in the winter because vegetables and fruits weren't available. It was good for the body to store this sugar that they would eat during the harvest times as fat. They were going to need that to survive on in the winter. Let's face it, we're not like that anymore. We don't need that stored fat to survive the winter because we're going to, we have that availability is there for us all the time. Now that sugar is out there all the time and being overeaten, that's leading to this epidemic of obesity. It's being stored as fat. And it's really not even being recognized. It's ruining our health. This is absolutely wrecking our health in America. So I mentioned last week that the average person should consume only 6 to 9 teaspoons of sugar a day. Americans, on average, are eating 30 teaspoons of sugar. That is way more than twice the recommended amount that we should be eating. So I dare say a lot of people's is a lot higher than that. That's just the average. So let's talk a little bit about some serious conditions that can result because of this spiked blood sugar or this elevated sugar. So maybe some things you haven't thought about. What about Alzheimer's? Alzheimer's is caused because of an inflammatory response in the brain. That sounds familiar, right? That inflammation. So we have high blood pressure. We have triglycerides, both of which are leading to cardiovascular disease, dental problems, risk of asthma. We have this distortion to be able to recognize hunger, which is leading to potential insulin resistance, which then in turn leads to type 2 diabetes. We have our gut microbiome being disrupted, which can lead to digestive issues. And then, of course, our immunity is affected by this. If our immune system is so busy trying to process all of this sugar, when there's a true threat, then the body doesn't have the proper, availability of the immune system to take care of that. So that's leading to a negative impact there. And then, of course, like we talked about in a video or two ago, we have that chronic inflammation, which is leading to all kinds of joint and musculoskeletal problems, chronic diseases. This is also resulting in decreased vitamin intake. So we have vitamin deficiencies that we haven't seen in a long time. So when you're getting so much sugar trying to be processed in the body, then a lot of times we're not getting the proper foods to get the vitamins that we need. So just remember that sugar is sneaky, especially if you're consuming processed foods, and really pay attention to how much sugar is actually placed into that food. I mean, I'm going to tell you, we've got to get control of this. I have to get control of this in my life because my body is broken right now in this regard. So I am confident I can fix it, but I have to know the problem, and I have to really be mindful of the problem. So I'm encouraging you in that way today. Read your food labels. Think about the amount of sugar. Just track it for one day. Track the amount of sugar that you're eating in one day. You might be surprised how much sugar you're actually taking in if you just sit down and calculate it. So getting this problem under control is key for all of us in America to getting a lot of our chronic health conditions under control. So this was a little heavy, and I know maybe a little, I don't know, it's challenging. It's a challenging situation, but we can do it. I want you to work with me, and I'll work with you, and so we'll support each other in this endeavor. So I just want to encourage you to hit that like button if you are enjoying these educational videos, and check out the vlog that's going up on Tuesdays. I've mentioned that in the past, but you'll be able to track my progress. I've had some progress that's been happening in the last few weeks, and you'll be able to track that there. So just hang in there. That's what I want to say today. Hang in there with these changes. It's not easy. It's not easy to get rid of these foods. When you talk about addiction, that's serious and it's hard, but together we can do it. I'll see you next time.